Alright, let's dive into something that's been bugging me lately: the absolute worst pregnancy storylines in sitcom history. Now I know what you're thinking: pregnancy in sitcoms can be hit or miss, right? But what makes these particular storylines so bad isn't just that they're predictable or boring. It's that they completely undermine the characters we've grown to love. And that, my friends, is a cardinal sin in storytelling. So let's break this down, but trust me, I'm not just listing these for the sake of it. I've got some thoughts. First up, let's talk about Penny in The Big Bang Theory. Now, I'll be honest, I was never the biggest fan of how the show handled its female characters, but Penny's surprise pregnancy in the finale? That felt like a slap in the face. Here's why. Penny had explicitly stated she didn't want kids. It was a refreshing take. Not everyone wants the same life, right? But the writers decided to throw that out the window for a cute callback to Leonard's pilot line about having smart and beautiful babies. Personally, I think this was a missed opportunity. What many people don't realize is that sitcoms often default to traditional endings, even when it betrays the character's growth. It's like the writers were so focused on wrapping things up neatly that they forgot Penny's agency mattered. And don't even get me started on Mad About You. Jamie Buckman's pregnancy storyline felt like the writers were grasping at straws to keep the show relevant. Paul Reiser himself was against it, and honestly, I can see why. The show was always about the couple's dynamic, not their baby. But instead of letting the relationship evolve naturally, they threw in a baby and expected us to care. The result? A cringeworthy 20-minute scene of a crying baby that no one asked for. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a classic example of how adding a baby can kill a sitcom's momentum. It's like the writers forgot what made the show special in the first place. Now, let's talk about Amy Santiago in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. On paper, her pregnancy storyline should have been sweet, a power couple becoming parents. Sign me up. But the execution? Yikes. The fact that Amy and Jake never discussed having kids until season 6 feels wildly out of character for someone as type A as Amy. And then there's the debate scene where Amy basically strong-arms Jake into agreeing to have kids. Look, I get it. Differing views on parenthood can be a deal-breaker. But the way it was handled felt more like emotional manipulation than character growth. What this really suggests is that even the best shows can fumble when they force storylines that don't align with their characters. Haley Dunphy's pregnancy in Modern Family is another head-scratcher. Here's a character who'd proven herself to be more than just a ditzy teenager, and then, twins with her high school boyfriend. Really? It's not just that it feels regressive, it's that it sidelines her career at a time when she should have been thriving. What makes this really interesting is how it highlights a bigger issue in TV. Women's storylines often get derailed by motherhood, even when it doesn't make sense for the character. Personally, I think Haley deserved better. She could have been a working mom who balanced it all, but instead, she got pushed to the sidelines. And finally, Kim Briggs in Scrubs. This one still baffles me. Kim lying about a miscarriage? Out of every possible way to break up JD and Kim, they chose that. It's not just out of character, it's downright cruel. What many people don't realize is that this storyline wasn't just bad for Kim, it tainted JD's entire arc. It felt like the writers were so desperate to get JD and Elliot back together that they sacrificed logic and character consistency. If you take a step back and think about it, this is the epitome of lazy writing. So, what's the bigger takeaway here? Sitcoms often treat pregnancy as a plot device rather than a meaningful part of a character's journey. And when that happens, it's not just the storyline that suffers, it's the entire show. These aren't just bad storylines. They're missed opportunities to tell richer, more nuanced stories. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Are these storylines as bad as I'm making them out to be, or am I overreacting? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear your take.